Seriously. Stop trying to. Stop trying to. Stop trying to look for a fight with me, 'cause no one will win. I'm spending twice of the energy to watch you begin. Might be too soon to call you out, and maybe someday we'll see eye to eye, eye to eye. Stop trying to look for a fight with me. Yeah, you gotta know I love you. Yes, I do. And sometimes it ain't enough to make it through. All the names you shout at me, all the red I make you see. Sorry, but it's true. Stop trying to look for a fight with me, 'cause no one will win. I'm spending twice of the energy to watch you begin. Might be too soon to call you out, and maybe someday we'll see eye to eye, eye to eye. Stop trying to look for a fight with me, 'cause no one will win. I'm spending twice of the energy to watch you begin. Might be too soon to call you out, and maybe someday we'll see eye to eye, eye to eye. There are times I wish I knew you like a friend. Maybe if I did, we'd come through in the end. All the opportunities, all the hopes for you and me, stories far from proof. Stop trying to look for a fight with me, 'cause no one will win. I'm spending twice of the energy to watch you begin. Might be too soon to call you out, and maybe someday we'll see eye to eye, eye to eye. Stop trying to. I'm not asking you to read me or my mind. Being different doesn't mean we gotta lie. All we needed is the truth. All we found's a crazy safari every time. Seriously. Stop trying to. Stop trying to. Stop trying to look for a fight with me, 'cause no one will win. I'm spending twice of the energy to watch you begin. Might be too soon to call you out, and maybe someday we'll see eye to eye, eye to eye. Stop trying to look for a fight with me. Yeah, you gotta know I love you. Yes, I do. And sometimes it ain't enough to make it through. All the names you shout at me, all the red I make you see. Sorry, but it's true. Stop trying to look for a fight with me, 'cause no one will win. I'm spending twice of the energy to watch you begin. Might be too soon to call you out, and maybe someday we'll see eye to eye, eye to eye. Stop trying to look for a fight with me, 'cause no one will win. I'm spending twice of the energy to watch you begin. Might be too soon to call you out, and maybe someday we'll see eye to begin. Might be too soon to call you out, and maybe someday we'll see eye to eye, eye to eye. Stop trying to. Being different doesn't mean we gotta lie. All we needed is the truth. All we found's a crazy safari every time. Seriously. Stop trying to. Stop trying to.
Check. Hi everyone, how's it going? Nice to see all of you again. It's dolltr or Claire, as most of you know me. But we are back again with 343 Labs for 343 TV. It is the 4th week of the month of June, and as you know, if you've been tuning into our previous streams, you'll know that 343 TV is something that the 343 Labs family has put together for the month of June. But in case anyone's tuning in for the first time, hello! We are at the 343 Labs YouTube channel, and 343 Labs is a school that is based in Manhattan, usually when we're not in quarantine, but now we're kind of just all over the internet, which is really neat too. We can all do these really cool streams with all of you. And as you know, if you've been tuning into 343 TV, you might have seen that we've had lots of really great programming every day. Like you've got me doing Mondays. I'm doing some tips and tricks in Ableton Live. And then we've got John Selway on Techno Tuesdays. And then we've got Justin for Stuck in the House on Wednesdays. On Thursdays, we've got Max, who's in the chat and is our co-founder of 343 Labs. And we've also got TAETRO doing some talks. And we've also got Abe on Friday for Bitwig Basics. So there's a lot of cool programming. And of course, Saturday, we have wonderful live performances from the 343 Labs family. I did a performance a couple of weeks ago, and Sotni just did a performance over the weekend, which was amazing. I hope you tuned in for that. And if you missed it, no problem, because we have replays on Sundays. And you can also check out all of these replays on our YouTube channel, which is 343 Labs, youtube.com/343labs. So you can find us over there. And don't forget to subscribe if you like our content, because you can be notified of whenever we go live next or whenever we do our programming. But on that note, yes, my name is Claire. I'm an Ableton Certified Trainer, and I do teach with 343 Labs. One of the things that I love teaching about that I've been sharing with everyone is kind of this like method of on-the-fly production, if you will. And as you can see, I have a controller over here to my right, which is the Ableton Push. And Push is a really great performance instrument, in addition to being a really good production instrument. And if you tuned into my previous streams in the last couple of weeks, we talked a little bit about how to build productions really quickly on the fly, and how to do some looping-based stuff on Push. So I thought for today, it might be cool to actually take you through some considerations that I think of when I do live performances. So like I mentioned, dolltr is kind of my artist project. I keep her pretty separate from the stuff that I do as Claire. Most of the time when you're seeing me on these 343 TV streams, apart from my performance that I did as dolltr, my live set, most of the time you're seeing Claire. Claire is also the person that you're meeting in class if you take a class with us at 343 Labs. But yeah, so I thought I'd go through a little bit of performance stuff that I do when I'm prepping for my dolltr sets, which then dolltr doesn't have to think about, and she just does the set. But also, please give a shout out to Thomas from 343 Labs, who's helping us manage the chat. And as Thomas has put in the chat, we're also doing a giveaway today. We have been doing giveaways at pretty much every stream. We managed to give away some cool Stencil stuff and Ableton vouchers in the last couple of weeks. Today, though, we are giving away a license for Pigment by Arturia, and that's a VST, a virtual instrument. So you'll be able to use it in whatever DAW you're using, honestly. You could use it in Live, you could use it in Logic, could use it in Pro Tools if you wanted to. So lots of different options, but we're giving that away today. If you would like to enter the giveaway, ooh, thank you, Thomas. Thomas just put it in the chat. So please head over to that link and you can enter the giveaway by heading over there. That's a link to our website also. Maybe on that note, I'll also share that our website has really useful information if you're ever interested in taking a class from us or finding out more about our programming. We're going to start doing some Ableton Live programming for the summer, because as you know, summer's around here starting to get a lot warmer. It's weird because for summer, I was kind of like stuck in winter mode for a long time just because winter happened and then we had the lockdown or shelter in place happen, and then now it's like summer. So weirdly enough, I still have all of my winter clothes kind of out, but that's okay. I look forward to the day where I can finally perform live in person again with everyone. But in the meantime, let's go through some tips and tricks right now. Doll tips and doll tricks that I like to share with all of you today. So what you're seeing over here in live is a quick set of loops that I put together. So aside from streaming with 343 Labs, I actually do stream on my own every day. I do daily live production streams on my own YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/dolltrick, DOLLTRICK. And the thing about my streams is I try to have this philosophy of, okay, when you are doing these loop-based things and building up productions, it's really like a muscle that you're exercising. So the premise is to create something super quickly in the fastest time possible. So that's kind of the rationale for doing this. So every day I take like half an hour or so to basically put this entire thing together and then do a little performance at the end. So let's take a listen to what I have over here. If you want to follow me on my other YouTube channel, you can tune in tonight. I think I'm doing another of these later. But let's see what I've got over here. From Push, I'm going to launch this particular scene. So again, what we're looking at, everyone, is a software that's called Live. It's developed by a company called Ableton. And the unique part about Live is that it has two different kinds of views. You've got a linear view that kind of goes from left to right, which is maybe something that you might be more familiar with if you've ever seen producers do like track breakdowns of a linear arrangement. However, Live also has a non-linear session view, and this lets you kind of loop things, play different kinds of clips indefinitely in a way. So let's see what I have here in this giant 8-track loop going. And hopefully it's not too loud. Let's see. Okay, cool. Cool. So I made that really quickly in a pretty short period of time a couple of days ago. Oh, there's an airplane near my house. No problem. But yeah, so I put that all together in this view, which is session view, and in a way that basically would give me essentially the equivalent of a drop in my music. So one thing that I do based off of this is then think of different sections that maybe a piece of music might have. So I'm going to show you a really quick way of forming different sections in Ableton Live using session view. So like I said, we've got this giant loop hanging out over here. And if I wanted to perform this, of course I could, immediately go about just launching different kinds of clips, playing these at different points in time, taking loops in and taking loops out. But it would nice to have certain combinations of loops in a specific order and have them be prepared for me, without having to necessarily, think of different sorts of ways to flesh them out in real time while I am performing. So I'm going to show you today a couple of quick ways that I like setting this up in Live. And the first thing that I usually do is duplicate this giant loop so that I maybe have it, say, 4 or 5 times. And those can, in a way, be my different sections. So let's hold down the duplicate button on Push and select this scene. And that immediately creates a copy below that. So now you can see in Live, I have 2 rows. Any row that you see in Live is a scene. And I'm going to do that again, maybe a couple more times. Let's do it 4 times for now. So I have 4 different kinds of scenes. And as you can see, they all have the same content. But what would make sense maybe is to have different combinations of these. So maybe in a couple of these scenes, I will take away certain sounds. Let's also go through the kinds of sounds that I have. I do believe that there are some drums here. Cool. I've also got some bass here, I think. So this is more of like a mellow type of bass. Then I do think I have a copy of that bass sound. Might be more aggressive, yeah. Cool. And then I also have some chord sounds. So just to take one step backwards, usually when I do these jam type of things, I always think of my 4 main parts of music production, which is what I talked about in my very first week of live streaming, actually. I talked about how I generally think of productions as having bass, drums, bass, chords, and melodies. So kind of going in these 4 pillars of music. So I got my drums, I got my bass. This should be my chords part. Let's see what I got. Ooh, I got a cool art type of thing. More of like a texture or droney type thing. A little bit of a mix of the two. Cool. So I got that. And there's a pretty interesting delay that I put on it, I think. I've also got this. These are my chords. I think it might be some kind of an FM piano. Yes. Cool. And what do I have here? I've got a high pad sound. Cool. And I've also got this, which I believe is a, yeah. Cool. I remember when I was playing around with this sound, I did like it. How it has that pitch drop at the end. Cool, so we kind of got that melody, and I think we also have a counter melody to that. Cool. So we got that floating on top. Cool. So what I like to do now is start arranging different parts of my my session that I like to play through. I would like at this moment the 4th lane to kind of be my main drop, if you will. But to that end, I think a great place to start off is to think about different kinds of drum patterns. Right now, all of these clips in my drums track they're all the same. So what would be nice though is if we could create some variation. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, delete the original 3 drum clips that I made. So delete those. So now I've only got 1 drum clip in the 4th scene that I have over here. But what I like to do is duplicate this clip and go into this drum clip over here and create some edits. So what I just did is I went on to Push and I went into something called note mode. What note mode lets you do whenever you have a drum kit loaded up is play with a step sequencer that's loaded up at the top of Push over here. So because of this, I can change different kinds of sounds that I have. I do know that I did program in some kicks, so I can see that over here. I can see my kick drums. I also did some snares and claps, I believe. Cool. So those are also here. What else did I have? I had some closed hi-hats, and I can see them programmed out here as well. I also had some tambourines, so that's the pattern in which they're programmed. And was that it? No, I had some cowbells also. Always more cowbell. If I could, I would put all the cowbells here. But cool. I think that's about it. Might have had a ride over there. Good. So I know now what I have in my loop. So let's take away a couple of these elements. One thing I do a lot of, and you will know this from my other streams also, is that I build up a full loop and then I start taking parts away. So it's a little bit like building the most exciting part of the song and then figuring out which parts you can omit in order to make things more exciting as time goes on. So it's a little bit of reverse engineering to that end. But let's start by taking away some of the higher frequency elements. So maybe let's take away the tambourine and hold down the delete button on Push and select that pad. Now all of the tambourines are gone. So all the tambourines are goodbye. Let's also take this opportunity to delete the ride that I had. So now, just straight up. Cool. So this loop that I have now is a little bit lower in energy than my previous loop because this is what I have. And this is what I had. And because of those higher frequencies changing, we have variations in energy. So great, that's exactly what we want. Let's duplicate that stripped down version of the drum loop that I had, and let's take away some more parts from it. Maybe for this particular loop, we can take away the hi-hats. So let's delete that. So now we got this. I do quite like that. Great. Cool. Let's duplicate it one more time. And maybe for this last loop that's currently in the intro, let's take away the claps and the snares. So we got a kick drum and some cowbells. I always feel like cowbells are so underrated. So what I'm going to do right now also is make a copy of the very first row over here. So let's duplicate this scene, excuse me. And in this very first scene, maybe I don't want any drums at all. So we'll completely remove the drum loop. Now we can start to also think about different ways of slowly bringing in various elements of this tune. And maybe off the bat, I want the bass to not start off immediately in the song. So we can go ahead and delete those. And let's see what our first scene sounds like now. Let's listen to it. Cool. And this is, of course, compared to, say, the next scene, where we might have more things. Cool. And maybe off the bat, we can even think of certain parts that we kind of want to hold back on first. And maybe it might be the melody. So let's see if we can delete a couple of the melody clips. So now my intro is like this. I'm wondering what it'll sound like if we delete the arc part. So let's take it away. That's pretty neat, actually. I do quite like that. So that's one thing to consider, kind of like just the various levels of this. So let's also experiment with different sections. I've got my intro over here, which is just this. And I do kind of like how it's pretty simple. And then maybe we could add in a bass part after that. Or the other bass part. The lower one could be good also. And maybe we'll do that. Let's do that. Cool. So now I've got already some collections of different kinds of scenes that I have. I've, of course, got my drop scene over here. But in kind of the opposite way of, working with different sorts of scenes and taking them out, and how we did with the drums just now, the different drum parts, we could also kind of do a little bit of the reverse and instead have more variation by keeping the drum part full, but taking out different parts of the other clips. So let's duplicate the scene now. Okay. And let's keep the drums where they are. But let's decide... Oh, I'm also going to decrease the overall volume of each track. And we'll readjust the volumes later, so no worries. Let's bring these down. Great, cool. So here we are. We've got the drums. Let's make them even softer so that you can hear me properly over. And I'm not shouting too loudly. Great, so we got the drums. They're the full drums. But let's experiment a little bit with and see which parts we can take away while also creating variation, but not creating too much of an energy change. So a little bit of an interesting paradigm to think about. Maybe might be different for some of us. And it was certainly different for me when I started thinking about this. But let's mix and match different parts and figure out whether we want to have certain parts in or not. Cool. So maybe for this breakdown part, I don't actually want my melody part, but maybe we could use it to have the counter melody in it. So cool. So we'll keep that in. That might be nice. What else could we take away? Let's see how this sounds with maybe, let's take away that, but let's keep playing our drums. Cool. Maybe we could take that away as well for the secondary section. And maybe let's have cool. So I do like this combination of 3 parts together, so I might keep them in. We might be able to take that away though and add this back in. Cool. So I kind of got like a rough breakdown section of what I would like to do. But I like to do a little bit of more variation. And now I'm going to basically construct a little bit of an outro type of scene. So there's a couple of ways that you can do it. And like I mentioned just now, you might be able to, duplicate full scenes in order to make them appear below. You could also duplicate individual clips. So maybe that's what I want to do. I know that I have a kick drum over here with a cowbell. So what I can do is I can duplicate this clip directly and paste it below into another scene down below. And you can see that also show up in live, which is pretty neat. Another thing I might do for the outro is decide on certain other non-drum parts that I want to have. So let's do this specifically for the other counter melody part that we had. So now we got these 2 parts in the outro. And maybe we could also have the ARP part in the outro. Or we could also have the chords part. Maybe the chords part. Ooh, so I actually just thought of an idea. And maybe this would be possibly better or a little bit more varied. Now, instead of just duplicating the clip that I had wholesale and taking the kick and the cowbell, let's maybe find the clip that we had with the kick and the snare and the clap and the cowbell, which I believe is here. And now I do think that I would prefer this as the outro. So let's duplicate the clip over there. So now my outro clip is with the clap. And then let's revisit the outro clip and take away the kicks. So a different sort of way of working with the loop. And you might notice also that I'm frequently switching between session mode and note mode on push. It's a little different. The terminology is a little bit different from using stuff directly with live. Like in live, you got session view, but on push, it's session mode. So it's a little bit different. And on push, the views are all descriptions of like the LED screen on top, which is probably one of my favorite parts about using push also. It integrates so well with live. And we're going to dive into that a little bit more in a moment when we talk about, building effects. A little bit of a treat. But yeah, now I've kind of got a basic arrangement of all these parts. Let me see if I can do a quick demo of the different parts. Won't play through everything, but just maybe give you a quick idea of the different things that you'll be able to do once you have all of these different scenes prepared for you in live. So we've got our intro. And then maybe we've got some kind of verse. And maybe let's take away the melody. So this could be a verse/intro type of part. And then melody comes in with more drums. So starting to build up. And we've also got that arpeggiator come in. Maybe we have a drum dropout before the next part comes in. And this is kind of like our drop. We've got a second drop. And this could be like a verse or a second post-chorus. And we can skip to the outro after this. And this would kind of like be our outro for the end. We can stop clips one by one. And launch an empty scene in order to stop all of the other clips. So that's kind of a really quick way of doing performance-based stuff. Now, at the end, and also at the intro, I was kind of thinking to myself, wow, it would be really nice if, somehow we could have some effects that go on the master, maybe as like a global effect that we're using on all of these sounds. So let's see if we can do that. What I'm going to show you now in live is how to build very quickly a kind of audio effect rack that maybe you could put into to good use in in anything that you're doing on a live performance setup. One thing that I usually develop a lot of is effects racks, and I usually start off on the master track building them. Now, what does it mean to have an effects rack? Usually when you see, if you ever see like live performers or DJs, turn knobs, and it's a little bit of a joke of an inside a running joke, if you will, but you'll see people turning knobs and you'll be like, oh, is that knob actually doing anything? A lot of the time, yeah, it is doing something and it's putting an effect on a specific kind of sound. Sometimes it's the entire chain of sounds, which is the master track. So let's develop some effects on the master track. I'm going to introduce to you a couple of effects that I enjoy putting on a lot of my music, and specifically in live performance context. So that's why I developed these in the first place. But let's take a look at maybe one of my go-tos. One of my go-tos is delay. So let's pull up a delay preset, or maybe a delay, just a default delay device from live. But what I'm doing over here now is I'm in live and I'm over in the browser on the left hand side and I'm looking for an audio effect in the category audio effects called delay. So I've got delay over here, and let's see what happens if we drag and drop it onto the master. And once you so it kind of preceded me, but I was going to say once we've put that on, let's see what happens. But you'll notice that once I did put it on the master track, you even heard some interesting things happen to my voice. And that's because by default, when you put an audio effect in live onto a track, there are a couple of settings that come up automatically. And in the case of delay, the delay is automatic. So we heard this, which is a type of synced delay to the tempo, which means that it's matching a little bit of how fast my song is. But what I was doing and what I did in order to bring this down a little bit so that you wouldn't be hearing me delay all the time was playing with this knob over here called the dry wet knob. So there are a lot of ways to, work with different kinds of effects in live, but I'm going to show you a very simple, straightforward way to do it. I have also done a lot of other tutorials that go super deep into building like the best CPU friendly racks and stuff, but that's a little bit, that's really complicated for a lot of the beginners that we might have, who I know usually tune in a lot. But if you're more advanced, we can totally talk about it like in class if you take a class with me. But right now, just know that the dry wet knob is probably one of the most important knobs that you will ever see on any audio effect. It usually affects how much of an effect you're hearing and how much of it you want to intensely show up audibly. One thing you can also do from Push is control effects directly from Push because of the way Push integrates so tightly with live. So if I wanted to, I could turn this knob on Push to change the effect that I have. So now I'm not even touching my computer at all. I'm really just touching the hardware. That said, the way Push works is that it often automatically maps any of its knobs to parameters that it thinks are best controlled in Live. So what this means is basically there are automatic assignments for every knob that you see to the 8 best controls. Why 8? That's because there are 8 knobs on Push. So that control effects. So for most part, it is because of the hardware that you're only having like these 8 parameters that you can control at once. But what if we wanted to maybe have a series of effects? So what if we want delay? What if we want reverb? A couple of other effects. So maybe on that note, I might take a moment to take a pause and hit back over into the chat. And maybe before I get there, let us know what your favorite effects are. Maybe we can even use them in today's stream. So let us know what your favorite effects are. I'm going to pop back over into the chat just to make sure everything is looking okay. Sorry, I do apologize. I need to make sure I'm in the right place at the right time. Here we go. Great, cool. Oh, yay, hi. Just saw a couple of the numbers pop up. Welcome to anyone who just tuned in. I'm dolltr, and I also go by Claire when I'm teaching at 343 Labs, which is my main teaching persona. Ooh, TWD Industries. Hi, how's it going? Oh, you had a question. How do you plan for multi-song performances? Quick swap live session files or make a master file that contains several songs of stems in one session? That's a great question, TWD. And it is oftentimes the latter that I do. So I tend to put everything in one master session. One thing that you might notice about live compared to a couple of other DAWs is that at any point in time, you can only have one session open. So because of this, I tend to put everything into one session. It's just a lot more convenient switching between songs. You wouldn't have to wait for an entire new live set to be open. As a live experience designer and a performance designer, I feel that the only time I would ever swap out specific live sessions and have them separately is if I'm working with different artists. So for example, I've done like certain festivals or certain live shows where I'm teching or being the playback engineer or artist for different artists who are performing main stage. So like they're kind of in front, I'm off to the side, or I'm like doing DJing for them in whatever capacity. And that is when I would use different sessions. So I would have one session for artist A, and then I would have one session for artist B. And that's really so that I don't have either of their songs playing at the same time in the same session, and also because each different artist, depending on how I've designed the live set, would be different with them. So some of them might have more effects, some of them might have no effects on vocals, but maybe a lot of effects on a guitar. And that's something that I do professionally outside of my artist stuff. I'm a live experience designer and a music technologist, so I deal a lot with that kind of thing. So yeah, definitely, if it's a multi-song performance under dolltr as her live set, then yes, I absolutely use one master session. Oftentimes it is in session view, but sometimes it's also in arrangement view, depending on exactly what I'm doing and the nature of the performance. And I did go into that in one of my presentations that I did at the Ableton user group, which you can also find a replay of on the 343 Labs YouTube channel. I think it was from when was it? It was from our April user group from earlier this year. It was our very first virtual Ableton user group meetup that we had for the New York side. So I did cover more about that and how I go into doing that for other artists. But great question. If anyone wants to give suggestions for, I'm not sure if we did get any suggestions for favorite audio effects. But if you are watching and if you have a favorite audio effect that you would like us to include, or that you'd like me to include in my stream today, let me know and we can see if we can work with that. But in the meantime, I'm going to head back over into live. Ooh, here we are. And I'll check out the chat in a little bit once I've shown you this. But one thing I'd like to do is specifically map this to a knob. So right now, my dry wet control is all the way to the right on my push that I have over here. What if I would like it to be on the left or on a specific knob? One way I could do this is MIDI map it directly to that knob, but that means I can only use that one knob to control the one thing. So because of this, what I tend to do with a lot of audio effects is put them into an audio effect rack. And I'll show you how I usually do this. So the first step I usually do is group the device immediately. What this does is automatically puts it into an effect rack. So I just pressed Command G or Control G on my computer keyboard. Command G if you're on a Mac, Control G if you're on a PC. And what this has done is it's placed my delay device into a group. So you can kind of see that now I've got my delay device encompassed in a little bit of an external container, if you will. I'm going to undo that and redo it again. So here was the original device. And when I pressed Command G or Control G, got encapsulated. Now what I can do over here is take a closer look at a couple of these knobs or little buttons, really, not knobs off the bat, but buttons on the left hand side of my audio effects rack, and I can open up a group of macros. Now macros in pretty much any kind of digital audio workstation, anytime you hear someone call macro, more often than not they're referring to some kind of control that affects multiple things on a higher hierarchy and maybe a global level for some types of macros that you have. So yeah, let's see what we can do over here. Like I said, I want my dry wet knob on my delay to be on my very first knob here on push. So because of that, macros come in super handy. Macros on push will automatically show up left to right, depending on whether they're macro 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. And conveniently, there are 8 macros as well. So let's head over here into the delay device. And if I right click on my dry wet knob, you might not be able to see this depending because OBS does a little bit of a weird capture thing. But if I right click on my dry wet knob, I have the option to map it to macro 1. So what this does is now macro 1 in my audio effect rack, you might be able to see it over here, is called dry wet. And what does this mean? It means now my first knob on push is my delay knob. So yay, we've managed to do a bit of that, which is great. One thing we can also do once we've put this in an audio effect rack is maybe make a little bit more, organization be present in the set, because I do like being as organized as possible so that you can find the best types of workflows for you. For me, I do like making sure that things are properly named. So I can go ahead and rename this dry wet macro. I can call it something like reverb. So that's going to be Command R on a Mac or Control R on a PC. But in this case, I'm not going to call it reverb because it's actually a delay. I'm not sure why I said reverb, but it's a delay. And now I have my delay pop up also on push, and I can see it on the LED screen here too. So I can go delay, and have that appear. I can also recolor this. So I can pick a color for it. Maybe I'll make it pink. Maybe my delay will be pink. So that's immediately one effect that I've had. Delay. Great. Let's see if I'm going to pop over into the chat again. I'm not sure if we had any suggestions. Maybe we did. Yay, suggestions. Cool. Let's see. Reverb and reverb, Lisa. No, reverb and redux. Cool, let's do that. And also, Alfred said, I just use compressor EQ or dynamic to adjust audio. Yeah, that's fine also. You can do whatever you want, pretty much. But maybe to that end, let's do a little bit of EQ related things, maybe relating to changing the timbre of something, but we'll do it with a filter. So let's absolutely do that. Let's do reverb, redux, and filter. So let's do the reverb first, since that was suggested immediately after. So I'm going over into the browser again in Live. And now, instead of dragging and dropping the reverb directly onto the master track, what I'm going to do is drag it within my audio effect rack. So now I've got my delay, and behind that, I've got my reverb. And you can hear the default that it has. Again, if I play with the reverb's dry wet knob in Live, you can kind of hear it. But what I like to do also is make this a longer reverb. So I'm going to increase the decay time on this reverb, and cool. So that's pretty neat. So similar to what I did just now with my with the knob that I had for delay, let's also map this reverb knob to maybe macro number 2. So now macro number 2 on push as well as in Live is another dry wet knob, but this time it's dry wet for reverb. So that's pretty neat. And now if I turned both of these knobs, let's see what happens. So you kind of got both delay and reverb happening at the same time, which is really neat. So let's, do the same housekeeping that we need to do. Let's call this reverb, and let's also color it a different color. And here's maybe one of the things that is unfortunately not possible. Like you see all these colors popping up in live. Unfortunately, they don't get reflected on push, just because on push, the color of the track and the controls that you see on the LED screen will match whatever track is selected. So for example, in this case, my master track is blue. It's light blue. You can see it over here. So on push, my effects are all going to be a light blue color on the LED screen. We don't have individual colors yet. Maybe that'll be something to do in like another iteration of push, if there's ever a push 3 that comes out at some point. So yeah, let me also cool. So we have reverb, and then was it Redux after that? Yes, it was Redux. Oh, we also had a couple of other questions. From Braulio Soto. Hi, welcome. I think it's the first time that we've seen your name. Also, hello to Capel Table. Yay, welcome back. So Braulio had a question. Can you do that in a Launchpad? You would be able to do that with an individual button on a Launchpad, but as you know, Launchpads do not have any knobs. So you wouldn't be able to physically map a knob to it, but you might be able to manually MIDI map it using some kind of individual button if you were to put your Launchpad in user mode. So that's something to consider as well. And then we had, welcome everybody who just joined. Thanks, Thomas, again. Thomas from 343 Labs is doing an amazing job in the chat room, and please give Thomas a hand. He's providing us with the giveaway link, so don't forget to enter the giveaway, which is for Arturia Pigments. It's a VST that we're giving away today as well. And below that, Carl had a question. How did I assign it to knob 2? I assigned it in the same way that I did for knob 1. So all I was doing was right-clicking on a certain control. Any of these little dials that you see in live, you can right-click on them and assign them to a certain macro if they are in some kind of rack. So we're going to do this again with the Redux that Liso suggested earlier on. So we are going to go through this one more time. But that's it. Oh, Lisa also had another question. What is Max for Live? So without going too in depth, feel free to check out. Let me see if I got the link for this. Max for Live intro. Yes, cool. It seems like I do have a link for it. So Lisa, that's a great question. If you'd like to find out what Max for Live is, you can check out a video that I just linked over here in the chat. So I just put a link over there in the chat. Feel free to check that out, Lisa, if you'd like some clarification. Capel Table had a question about a blue hand. Yes, so the blue hand actually it applies to any selection that you're making. So not just with controllers, but anything that I click on and that is currently selected in the moment, that is the blue hand that's popping up. So it's just telling me that regardless of whatever controller I have or whatever I have selected. So great question. Let's keep doing some mapping over here. Let's do the Redux that Liso suggested. So I'm going to, again, drag it over from the browser. I've got Redux over here. Let's click. Ooh, whoops, let's not open that. But let's click and drag it behind the reverb. And, let's see if this one will be an interesting one. So I'm going to show you exactly what Redux does. And it does a couple of things. It does bit reduction and downsampling. When you downsample something, it'll sound like this. Cool. So you can also change the type of downsampling that's happening. You can make it hard or soft. Soft is a little bit gentler, so it gives you a little bit of a more softer, as the name implies, edge to the sounds that you have. You can also do something called bit reduction, which is a little bit different also. So be careful of your ears. It's a little bit crazy. Usually I tend to use the downsample function in Redux if and when I am using it. But a couple of things. First of all, I do think that this, in order to make sure that I'm not affecting things too much, I want to make sure that whenever I'm not using this Redux, it's going to be off. So I don't necessarily want the Redux to be in effect when I have it going. So what I'm going to do is, instead of assigning this downsample knob to a macro straight away, what I will do is also assign the on-off button of this device, which is, over here. What I'm going to do is assign this on-off button to the macro as well. And this is also going to help me change a couple of things. So now, let's say if I made this downsample control a little bit higher, I could then use this macro to turn the device on and off. So here's the device on with the macro up, and here is the device off. And I can even do this from push as well. So I'm turning my knob, here is the device off, but now here it is on. So on and off, on and off, on and off. So I can do that as well. And I can combine different kinds of effects. So now I've got my reverb and also some of the delay and the redux on and off. I can also, of course, map two controls. Not of course, but I can also map two controls to one macro. So let's say I wanted to do the device on and off, yes. But I also do want to do a little bit of downsampling. So if I right click on the downsample knob, I can also assign that to the same control. So now on one control, on push, on one macro, I've got both the downsampling and the device on and off. So here's the device off, and then eventually when we get to a point, we have the downsampling kick in. Cool. So one thing that I do notice though is that off the bat, the downsampling is kind of, loud and don't necessarily want it super aggressively. And that's where the mapping controls come in. So if you get into the audio effects rack here on the left-hand side of Live, you might notice that in the name of the audio effect rack, there's also a little control next to it that says map. Ooh. So I'm wondering what'll happen if we click on map. Ooh, yay, we get into this kind of green colored mode that's a little bit different. This mode might look a little bit familiar to you. It mirrors MIDI mapping mode in that it's, shows you controls that can be edited. If I needed to MIDI map a controller, that'll be this blue mode that I have. It's Command M or Control M if you're on a PC to get into that. And it's also similar to key mapping mode, which is the orange mode. So that's going to be Command K or Control K. But for this mapping mode, that's specific to an audio effect rack, you can only access that from the audio effect rack in question itself. So now we've got that. And now over here, I can fine tune some more of my macro mappings. And we even get a title that this is the macro mappings view that we're seeing. So what I like to do is, first of all, instead of having my device on be 64 to 127, which are the range of controls that you're going to see, I'd like it to be 1 to 127. And I'll explain why in a moment, so please bear with me. This is a little bit of a more advanced part, but one thing that I do like sharing about. So what does this mean? Anytime you see a minimum and a maximum value from something to 127 on any kind of knob, that's telling you the extent of values that you can use this knob on for. So what does this mean? It means that if, just now when I had 64 as my default, this meant that any kind of knob value that's beyond the halfway mark means my device will be on. And any kind of value that's before the halfway mark, which is 64, is going to be less, because 64 is approximately half of 127. It's a little bit more, and for reasons that we won't go too in-depth into today. But yeah, 64 is kind of like that middle point that you're going back and forth in between. That said, I do want my downsampling to kick in immediately when I turn on the knob. I still want to have that range of values. So because of that, I'm going to have the minimum value be 1. This means that the moment I twist my knob just a tiny bit, the downsampling will already start. And because of that, I'll be able to get my full range of downsampling. So here, let's do a bit of a comparison. Let's set this back to 64 and come out of mapping mode and try to listen for what this sounds like. So here is the downsampling. I'm just going to twist the knob from left to right, and you can see it move, and you can see now you can hear the downsampling kick in when I go a bit farther. Here's the downsampling. But it kicks in almost immediately. So let's do a comparison. That was starting at 64. Now let's start at 1. So now let's head back out of here and start moving this knob. So we get some small downsampling and slowly increasing. Woo! Cool. So that's exactly what I wanted. A little bit more control. So that's what I tend to do for a lot of these devices that are a bit more aggressive as well. And hi, greetings to the people who just joined in. I just saw the numbers bump up as well. And yeah, the link that I put in the chat was a link to a video of me talking about Macs for Live devices, and that's an intro to Macs for Live on my own channel. You're most welcome. TWD Industries, would you recommend an APC40 Mark I user with Live 10 Suite upgrade to Push? Asking for a friend who is me. That's a great question, TWD. I will say, though, that one part I love about the Mark I of the APC40 are the faders. Unfortunately, you don't have that on Push. If, though, you feel that you are very passionate about using Live, let's say for more production related type things, I think Push is definitely worth the upgrade, even for performance stuff as well. But I would also say that a really great benefit of Push or the Mark II of the APC are the different kinds of LEDs and the different colors. I feel like that's, some people think it's a small thing, but yeah, so for me, it's actually pretty big. I feel like color coding is a big part of my workflow. So to have that show up on Push, or even, like I said, the Mark II of the APC 40 is really big for me, and it helps me navigate my set a lot better as well. But yeah, also hi to Regine. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Let's see what we can do over here. I think we had one more audio effect, maybe? Oh yeah, we were talking about a filter. So let's see if we can do this super quickly. Let's do one more of this. We've got our delay, our reverb. Let's do a auto filter. And let's also do the same thing. Let's map this again. We've got auto filter hanging out over here. And we've got this kind of filtering off. And what I like to do is map my filter frequency to macro number 4. So that's going to be my filter. Now if I'm over here, I have the 4th filter kind of filtering out. And right now it's pretty flat. So maybe what we'll do is head over here and give this a little bit of resonance. Maybe about, let's do 30% for now. So now we can hear it a little bit more. Great. So now we've got all of these different sorts of controls. We got some delay, reverb, downsampling, and autofilter. So we got that too. Let's see if we can put this into practice, though, and maybe do a little bit of a quick run through of our song with the different kinds of effects. So let's see. Let's start off with our intro. And off the bat, maybe we'll start off with reverb. Let's see if we can do a quick performance of this in the next few minutes before we do our giveaway. This is your last chance to enter the giveaway, everyone. So while I'm doing this performance, if you do want to enter the giveaway, please head over to that link that Thomas posted in the chat. Your last chance for the giveaway before we announce the winners for the giveaway. So last chance. Yep, the link is there. Just making sure that the link is there. But yeah, let's see what we can do with this. Let's start off with some reverb and maybe some filter. Yay, cool. So that was a little bit of our performance with all of the audio effects that we had in the rack that we put together, like all of us. Yay, cool. So at this stage, maybe we have some information about our giveaway winners. I'm just gonna touch base with Thomas, but thanks everyone for tuning in. This is really fun, and we're actually kind of thinking about extending the 343 TV series. If you would like this, do let us know, because we're only supposed to initially do this in June, but maybe we'll do it for July. So this is actually my last stream for now, but maybe we'll come back next week. We'll see how things go. But we do have a giveaway winner. So at this stage, I'm also going to head over into my drum rack and do a little bit of a drum roll. We have a drum roll for our giveaway winner, and congratulations to Shintaro Kawakami. Shintaro, if you're watching, congratulations. Shintaro Kawakami is the winner of our track. Shintaro Kawakami is the winner of our track. Yay! Congratulations, Shintaro, on your win. You have won the Arturia Pigments license. Hi, Max. Thank you. Yeah, it looks like most people would like this series to continue, Max. So we're still kind of chatting about it, but now I love to continue this as well, share more tips and tricks. And I only got really scratched the surface of the stuff I do for live performance stuff. I love to share more things about this too. Oh, yay, congratulations, Shintaro's here. Yay, congratulations, Shintaro. We will be in touch with you. Yay! Great. See, we love giving away stuff too, and I also, this kind of is a big throwback for me to the very first week where we gave away some stuff from Sensol, which was great as well. So yay, awesome. Congratulations. Give some applauses to Shintaro. We're very happy that you participated in our giveaway. We love giving away stuff. It's like all the stuff that we've given away and that we gave to the winners has been really great. I think other things we've given away have been Ableton vouchers as well. So lots of really cool stuff. But yay, thanks so much again, everyone, for tuning. I'm feeling a little bit nostalgic now that we're kind of at the end of the road. But this is really cool, building audio effect racks with y'all. Maybe in the future we can do a gigantic audio effect rack, and I'll share some more tips and tricks about building live performance rigs and using controllers. I would love to do more stuff about controllerism. I feel like that's one of my big loves that most people know about me. It's I love live electronic performance and controllerism. But that's it. This was really nice. Oh my gosh, Dave, debut performance of your morph tomorrow. Yes, Dave won the morph in our very first giveaway of 343 TV ever a couple of weeks ago. So yay, congrats, Dave, too. I'm so glad that you're using your morph. The Sensol morph, everyone, is one that we got from our dear friends at Sensol. We love the Sensol folks, and they've been super supportive of 343 TV as well. So yay! On that note, though, thanks so much again, everyone, for tuning in. Please tune in to Techno Tuesday tomorrow with the amazing legend John Selway, who always brings lots of really good vibes for us, and we also appreciate everyone tuning in for the rest of all the streams we have, the whole week. But yes, we have John tomorrow, and we have daily programming all the way until the end of the week, and recaps on Sunday too. So there's lots of stuff going on. And yeah, I guess this is it for now. Hopefully, if you do want to check more of our lessons out, please head over to 343labs.com and please subscribe. We do stream, more than the usual 343 TV stuff, and we also host a lot of other videos on our channel. So feel free to subscribe. You can also hit the red button to subscribe, but also hit the notification bell in order to be notified of whenever we go live. So there's a little bit of a weird system on YouTube, but there's a couple of steps that you go through to be notified of stuff. So yes, please subscribe, please follow us. We're at 343 Labs pretty much anywhere. My name's Dolltrick, or Claire. My name's Claire, really, but my artist project is Dolltrick. But you can find me at DOLLTRICK in all lowercase letters, or you can find me on Spotify at DOLLTR !CK. Again, and all lowercase letters with the exclamation point. But that's how I spell my name. Any other spelling of my name is an unauthorized use of the word dolltr. It's a trademark now, so yay, register for trademark. But protect yourself, everyone, online. Stay safe. I hope you have a lovely week ahead. It was so wonderful kicking off this Monday with all of you. And we will see you all soon for more 343 TV. Bye. Have a great one.
Broken skin has become my memory. Wounded heart has me falling to my knees. Blinded eyes are in search of reverie. Tell me, do I deserve my dignity? Forgotten shields across the fields, once growing green, now they're running red. But I need to find my peace in time. Can't lose my spirit to my head. There's a battleground brewing beneath my mind. There's a thunderstorm thirsting to start a fire. Should an avalanche anger the demons deep inside? Still got a battle out of Switchblade threatens to draw its line through me. One more knife in the gut and I can't breathe. Give me strength in my blood to win this fight. Recover my spark, take back my sight. And I need to find my peace in time. Begin again to see the light. There's a battleground brewing beneath my mind. There's a thunderstorm thirsting to start a fire. Should an avalanche anger the demons deep inside? Still got a battle out of There's a battleground brewing beneath my mind. There's a thunderstorm thirsting to start a fire. Should an avalanche anger the demons deep inside? Still got a battle out of With my battle scars, there ain't a flame I can't ignite. My lion heart has won the fight. Broken skin has become my memory. Wounded heart has me falling to my knees. Blinded eyes are in search of reverie. Tell me, do I deserve my dignity? Forgotten shields across the fields, once growing green, now they're running red. But I need to find my peace in time. Can't lose my spirit to my head. There's a battleground brewing beneath my mind. to win this fight. Recover my spark, take back my sight, and I need to find my peace in time. Begin again to see the light. There's a battleground brewing beneath my mind. There's a thunderstorm thirsting to start a fire. Should an avalanche anger the demons deep inside? Still got a battle out of There's a battleground brewing beneath my mind. There's a thunderstorm thirsting to start a fire. Should an avalanche anger the demons deep inside? Still got a battle out of life. With my battle scars, there ain't a flame I can't ignite. My lion heart has won the fight. Broken skin has become my memory. Wounded heart is me falling to my knees. Blinded eyes are in search of reverie. Tell me, do I deserve my dignity? Forgotten shields across the fields, once growing green, now they're running red. But I need to find my peace in time. Can't lose my spirit to my head. There's a battleground brewing beneath my mind. There's a thunderstorm thirsting to start a fire. Should an avalanche anger the demons deep inside? Still got a battle out of life. Switchblade threatens to draw its line through me. One more knife in the gut and I can't breathe. Give me strength in my blood to win this fight. Recover my spark, take back my sight, and I need to find my peace in time. Begin again to see the light. There's a battleground brewing beneath my mind. There's a thunderstorm thirsting to start a fire. Should an avalanche anger the demons deep inside? Still got a battle out of life. once growing green, and now they're running red. But I need to find my peace in time. Can't lose my spirit to my head. There's a battleground brewing beneath my mind. There's a thunderstorm thirsting to start a fire. Should an avalanche anger the demons deep inside? Still got a battle out of life. Switchblade threatens to draw its line through me. One more knife in the gut and I can't breathe. Give me strength in my blood to win this fight. Recover my spark, take back my sight. And I need to find my peace in time. Begin again to see the light. There's a battleground brewing beneath my mind. There's a thunderstorm thirsting to start a fire. Should an avalanche anger the demons deep inside? Still got a battle out of There's a battleground brewing beneath my mind. There's a thunderstorm thirsting to start a fire. Should an avalanche anger the demons deep inside? Still got a battle out of life. With my battle scars, there ain't a flame I can't ignite. My lion heart has won the fight. Broken skin has become